Okay, so my name's Aaron Davidson, and I'm your current county clerk, and I'm running for re-election. And I ran on transparency, and I've been working with our legislators to make that happen. And I don't have time to explain it all, but HB 209 passed, which allowed us to check citizenship status, whereas before we couldn't check citizenship status. If the voter marked that they were a citizen, that's it. But now we can verify citizenship status. HB 263 gave us the privilege to publish the cast vote records, which is a record of every ballot, not who cast the ballot, but what was on the ballot. So now people can do their own audit on the ballots because we worked with Norm Thurston on that bill. And there's some great bills that have come up. Some didn't quite make it through, but some did. But today I wanted to address it seems like when I do something, the media takes off on it and finds some little aspect of it and makes it a big controversy. It makes me look really bad. But they'll never look at the whole picture. So this last week I announced that I was gonna hire Kai Schwimmer. So he's a young Republican, and he's kind of a big mouth. He says some things that aren't quite what I'd like to hear, but he has some great ideas, and the media always takes something out of what he says and makes a mountain out of a molehill. And I had my last chief deputy, which is the guy just underneath me. He got recruited by a city in Utah County to be their city manager. Great opportunity for him. It was an advancement in his career, and he decided to accept it. And it was like a month before elections. And that just was not great timing for me, because I needed someone in that position. And so since I don't know, I hate to sound doubtful, but I didn't know if I was trying to recruit a chief deputy for 6 months or for 4.5 years. And it's hard to recruit somebody and give them that unknown. You could be an employee for 6 months, or you could be an employee for 4 years. And so I tried to make a positive out of it. So I tried to think, okay, since I don't know, I'm going to see if I can find somebody that can work short term for 2-3 months. And so I started looking at all the problems that we have in our election process. And the part that really kills me every election is you have to sign your ballot envelope. And we have to process that, and we have to compare that signature to what we have on record. And first-time voters, the only signature we have is their driver license when they were 16. And if we reject it, we have to put those ballots through a cure process and trying to reach out to those voters and get another signature to verify that they did in fact cast that ballot. And on average, the rejected ballots are about 3% overall. But for 18 and 19-year-olds, we reject little over 15%, 5 times as many. And then in 20-year-olds, it just goes down to 13.6 and 9.6. It starts going down, but those first-time voters, we are like disenfranchising them. The process is, not us personally, but the way it's set up, it is. And then in the cure process, that age group, they don't check their mail. Some of them look at emails. Most of them communicate in other ways. They do text. But new FCC regulation says we have to get pre-approval from them in order to use text to communicate with them. And so we can call them, but how many people even pick up their phone when they don't recognize the number? So statute says we have to attempt to communicate with the voter twice. And I've set up a system in our county that we reach out to them 5 times. 1 by email, 1 by mail, and 3 phone calls. And it costs us a lot of money to have people manning the phones, calling them up individually, one at a time. And that just breaks my heart to see those statistics. And the cure rate on 18-year-olds is 20%. 19-year-olds, it's 33%. 20, it's 35%. So it kind of goes up. We get more responses as you get older. But in the end, we just throw out way too many ballots for young first-time voters that feel like they're participating and they're really not. So I tried to figure out how can I reach that demographic. And Kai's name came up. He's is an influencer, a political influencer, and has access to these people. And so I reached out to him and said, hey, do you think you could develop a program for us or a process to reach out to that age group and get them with a better signature, and so we don't have to discard so many of their ballots, and try and reach out to them. And the media caught a hold that I reached out to Kai, and they just blasted me. They said, they publicized it. There were some influencers that tried to make everyone call me, and I've gotten so many emails and calls in the last couple of days. But funny thing is there was one lady that called today, and she was upset that I had tried to employ Kai. And I told her exactly why I was doing it. And I told her, this is a short-term job opportunity. It's not long-term. He's not my final chief deputy. It's for 2 or 3 months, and he has access to those people, and I'm trying to reach out to him. And I talked a little bit more about it, and she actually kind of started getting excited that I was trying to reach out to the first-time voters because she has one. And she got so excited, she goes, maybe we should meet. And I said, absolutely, let's meet. And so I have a meeting on Monday with this person that was completely upset at me. She's coming in on Monday with her daughter and one other person to talk about what we can do to reach those first-time voters and get them ready so that we're not rejecting so many of their ballots. And so I'm excited about that, but I'm still being blasted in the media, but it's encouraging to me that, the people I do talk to, they understand why I do it now. They may not agree with who I decided to employ to do it, but with government entities, you can't employ somebody on a whim. It take about 2 to 3 weeks to get him started. And he hasn't even started. He starts on Monday, and we've been working on this for weeks. So they're saying, well, employ somebody else. I'm like, yeah, 3 weeks, election's over. So I can't do that. But anyway, that's kind of one of the things that I've been dealing with, and I really appreciate the opportunity to serve you as the county clerk, and hopefully I can get your vote this time. Because I have tried very hard to be very neutral in everything that I do. And that's one other thing I try to emphasize is I am neutral, even though, like this repeal Prop 4, many of you probably worked on that. I actually supported it, but not in my office. I could endorse it, but I supported it, my own personal feelings about it, because I don't think a judge should select our map. But even though I supported it, as packets came through, I was still looking for forgeries. And I turned over 28 packets to our county attorney's office for forged signatures. So I try to operate completely neutral in everything that I do. Sometimes I don't even really know who's on the ballot. I let my staff do that. And I try to make sure the numbers all pull through. To say, well, who's running against such and such? And I'm like, I've got to go look that up too, because I try to maintain myself neutral as much as possible. How much more time do I have?
140.
Okay.
140.
So
You don't have to take it.
Yeah, well, most of you know, just a little bit about my background. I was raised in Arizona, but I came up here to go to school, and I got 3 degrees of BYU. I got a bachelor's and a master's in accounting with an emphasis in information systems, and then my MBA also. And it was really the information systems that has been a great benefit to me, because elections now is very data-driven, and being able to take data from one location, another location, and merge it to come up with data like this, all this data on this spreadsheet. It wasn't easy to come up with, but I know how to do it. So I have that data, and I can present it to people to justify the things that I do and support. So, do you guys have any questions?
So did you write down questions, or, because I can collect the questions, or, okay, while I'm doing that, tell them about, this is my question. What is FastCast? Tell them about that, but before you say that, I want to clarify that, actually I use the microphone here. The reason that it matters that he pointed out that there were forgeries is that this is a problem that is part of the signature gathering process. When you pay people to gather signatures, they get paid per signature, you are going to have forgeries. And so it's important that that was pointed out. Sorry, that was my question. Okay, what is FastCast?
Okay, so FastCast. FastCast is something we started in 2024. When I came into office in 2023, I didn't change much. I wanted to see how things operated. And we came up with this new way of voting called FastCast, where we mail out your ballots, you fill it out at home, but you bring that ballot back to us. Show your ID and cast your ballot. That way you don't have to get a new ballot printed, you don't have to go into the polling booth, fill it out. You just bring the ballot that we sent you. So in 2023, we did that, and unfortunately there was one poll worker that didn't quite understand it right. When they check in, you're supposed to check their ID, and they're supposed to sign the poll pad, and then they're supposed to hit commit. But in her mind, when you hit commit, that means a ballot's going to print. But she saw that they already had a ballot. But she didn't know that we programmed certain poll pads to work for FastCast, and then some poll pads to print. So she never hit commit. So there were 19 people that brought their FastCast ballot with them. She didn't commit it, but they entered the ballot. So we had 19 ballots more than when we had credit of giving for casting. And the Lieutenant Governor's office came down on me really hard on that. The media came down on me really hard. There were valid ballots, but she just didn't get it properly. So the next year we changed it where they had to bring their ballot in the envelope. So, and this was during the 20th presidential general. So they could bring their ballot in the ballot envelope. We would check their ID, the voter roll, and the ballot envelope to make sure they were all three correct. And then they would commit it. We made sure they committed it. And we would stamp the envelope, and we would put it in separate ballot bags. And we would just take those back and open them and count them. We didn't have to put them through a signature verification process. But last year on HB 300, there were 5 words added to code, or by other legal means. Meaning if anybody returned their ballot through the post office or the drop box or by other legal means, we had to put that ballot envelope through the signature verification process. So it completely defeated the intent of FastCast. And the Lieutenant Governor's office basically said we can't do it anymore. And it's just because of those 5 words. So I'm trying to work with the legislator, possibly, to make that a new process in the in-person voting. Make it, somebody can bring their ballot in their envelope and we can accept it in person. Or what would even be better is if we could, if it were to say, a county clerk may establish ballot receipt locations the week before where you could bring your ballot, instead of dropping it in a drop box, bring it to a live station, a person that's manned, and show your ID, and we can check it and accept those. So those are a couple of things I'm trying to accomplish with in expanding FastCast.
Were there other questions for me? Okay, can we move back to all in-person voting on paper ballots with rare exceptions and same-day count?
Say that in the microphone.
Yeah. If we can go back to in-person voting, basically, that's it would be great. There's HB 479, which didn't pass. It got stalled. It got stopped in Senate. It passed in the House, and that would have required basically the FastCast process statewide. But again, it would have been 8 days before. We would have had manned drop boxes where people could bring it, and they would have to show ID. So it would get there closer. I feel that society is more complex now. There's a lot of people that work out of state the week and they're home during the weekend, and it's hard for them. They can have an absentee ballot. There's still that absentee ballot process. So it's hard to go back instantly because it seems like the progressives, they're very satisfied with incremental moves, but the conservatives want instant changes. So I think if we can get back to, countywide doing a FastCast a week before and start reducing that, I think we could get there, but it's not going to happen right away because too many people like their ballot and mail it back in.
Okay, so the follow-up question is, if not, do you believe we can ever have honest, secure elections using machines and mail-in ballots?
Oh, it's tough. I mean, it's good, and I do trust the machines a lot more than I did before because I do an extra audit on the machines after the fact. The Lieutenant Governor's Office requires a 1% audit, but they tell us what batches to audit. But I bring in citizens to do my audits. I don't do this, my staff doesn't do the audits after the fact. And after we do the required audit, I open up the cages and I say, there's all the ballots, they're in batches of 250. You guys select 4 batches that you want. I'm not gonna tell you what's what. You just go pick 4 boxes. And the only error I have found between the paper ballots and the electronic tabulation is the tabulation equipment did not tabulate a mark in pencil that was too light. And that's why we say mark with the blue or black pen, because it won't pick up the pencil marks. Well, if you do it really dark, it will, but it was just kind of light. So I have more trust in the machines. If there's anything, it's somewhere out there before we get the ballots back. But that's just in Utah County.
Okay, how are we on time?
4 minutes.
How have you worked with the Utah legislature to increase election integrity?
Okay, that kind of addressed that with HB 209 and the citizenship status, and I addressed a little bit with HB 263 with the cast vote records. I'll just address the cast vote records because I really like that. Cast vote records is basically an Excel spreadsheet that has every ballot on it and what was cast on that ballot. It doesn't say who did it, it's just what was cast on that ballot. Because before, 20, 30, 40 years ago, the elections happened at the precinct level and the poll workers handled the ballots. They cast their ballots all in a big box, and at the end of the night, they pulled them all out. You don't know whose ballot that was, but they are the ones that did the counting. They sent the tally to the county clerk's office. County clerk gathered all the tallies from all the precincts and related to the Lieutenant Governor's office for final tally. So what the cast vote record does is it's an Excel representation of every ballot. So if you feel like, how in the heck did candidate A get 10,000 votes? You can go to my website and look at the cast vote record, and if you know Excel at all or a friend, you can use Excel and say, yes, absolutely, there were 10,000 ballots with a cast vote for that person. And I worked really hard with Norm Thurston on that last year, and it passed the House, it passed the Senate, and there were 2 county clerks that wrote a letter to the governor asking him to veto it, and they asked the county clerks to sign the letter to get more support for him vetoing it, and all the county clerks signed it except for 1 county clerk. I bet you can imagine who it was. So they did kind of water it down in that it says the cast vote record, or the county clerks may publish the cast vote records rather than shall. And so I did it a while ago. I can't remember if it was 4 or 5. There were only 4 or 5 county clerks in the state that published the cast vote records. And I don't blame them. It's not an easy thing to do. But with my database technology background, it was pretty simple for us to do. So I'd like to work on making that more of a requirement statewide rather than just a may publish.
Anything else? Oh. I was just gonna have you tell people about the videos that John made.
Oh, yes. Yeah, so my opponent has, he's really made a lot of accusations against me. He's taken little snippets and made big accusations against me. And with John, we addressed those in a very positive fashion. So on my website at davidsonclerk.com, you can go there and there's a menu item that says videos, and you can find the videos. There are like 9 different allegations that he's making against me. And so we addressed those issues to kind of clarify the true story rather than just a snippet of what happened. And also, Kristen wanted me to say, we have a stack of flyers. Each of us kind of have these stack of flyers. That's for you to go and distribute to your friends and family. So if you want to take one and take 10, take 50, take 100, to go and distribute it to other people. It's just not just for you here. It's for you to help us and to get the word out. So I just wanted to share that. Yes.
Does anyone run against you?
Yeah, I have there is somebody running against me. His name is Corey Astle. He's been a lobbyist for the last 8 years. And during the COVID era, he was a lobbyist for COVID-19 vaccine, contact tracing, and mandatory testing. But if you look at his profile, it says that sounds like he's like a business consultant trying to reduce costs for healthcare. And it's kind of, okay, stop.
And he's collecting signatures.
Yeah, and he's collected signatures and paid a lot of money for it.
Okay, round of applause for him.
Well, I don't know about you, I learned a lot of things tonight. Since I run the ballots in my process, if I can't endorse it, one of them, but there were some good talks given. So what I would recommend for each of you, if you could share what you're felt tonight with your friends, your families, if you're on any kind of social media, there's going to be a video, find out where that video is, post that video, and post the names and what you thought of them and who you want to vote for. And hopefully you'll vote for me for county clerk. Thank you.